On this Tuesday night, we're following a number of stories that together give us a snapshot of Canada's ever-present challenge, justice for this country's Indigenous peoples. A CBC News investigation raises new questions about the police work around the death of Colten Boushie. The inquiry into murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls asks for more time. And one First Nation celebrates the arrival of something most take for granted: clean water. What does all this tell us about race and reconciliation?
Also tonight, more White House chaos as another high-profile advisor announces he's leaving. This is The National.
We begin with new worries about how police investigated the killing of Colten Boushie. The 22-year-old Cree man was shot dead on a Saskatchewan farm in 2016, and last month, a jury acquitted Gerald Stanley of second-degree murder. Well, now a CBC News investigation is raising questions about what police did and did not do. The RCMP civilian watchdog is also concerned and has now said an independent probe is in the public interest.
We need to bring this on the table and address this with the Canadian government about the justice system, that it's not working and it's only one-sided, and that has to also change.
During the investigation, Colten Boushie's uncle lodged a complaint with the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission, and that file is still open. But the review announced today is separate. It's meant to determine whether RCMP members conducted a reasonable investigation into the death of Mr. Boushie and whether their conduct amounted to discrimination on the basis of race or perceived race. This just 1 week before the Crown's deadline to appeal that not guilty verdict. But that's not all. CBC News asked independent homicide investigators to review the work done by the RCMP, and they told David Common there were significant errors.
Homicide cases are built at the crime scene, an environment rich with evidence, potential keys to understanding what happened. But do something wrong, and the case may be compromised. When you look at some of the photos from the scene, what are the things that you would have done if you'd arrived at something like this?
Well, first of all, your main concern is preserving the evidence, preserving the scene. So
we asked veteran investigator Michael Davis to review the evidence outlined at the trial following the RCMP investigation into Colten Boushie's death.
There should have been a tarp placed over top of this vehicle, protecting it from the elements.
He's referring to this photo, taken just hours after the shooting. It shows a blood-soaked vehicle, but the RCMP left the SUV exposed for a day, door wide open, and the vehicle was drenched in a rainstorm. By the time forensics teams arrived, the blood was washed away. Is that acceptable?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. For a blood spatter expert to come and look at something like this, what would be the point? It's been contaminated, the blood pattern, everything has been washed away.
If this amount of blood evidence is lost on these areas, what's been lost on the other significant areas, the headrest, the door frame, the seat back, the steering wheel.
Joe Slemko is a blood spatter expert with 25 years experience. He says relying on photos alone is not enough, especially these photos.
I haven't seen one photograph taken upwards of the roofliner, and especially dealing with a gunshot wound to the head, that could be the most significant photograph in the entire series.
But the RCMP expert had only these photos to rely on. She was not sent to the scene.
Negligent. It's unacceptable. Cases like this really frustrate me because our job as investigators is to seek out the truth. And I mean, this is just not acceptable in doing a proper job in trying to determine what happened.
Once police arrived on scene, Gerald Stanley was arrested, taken to the detachment, and photographed, only to be released for the night and asked to return the next day to give his statement. What are you losing or risking by waiting 18 hours to take a statement?
You're waiting for the suspect to get together with other people and concoct a story.
Yeah. We don't know that's what happened in this case, but there is
that, and that's the reason why you want to nail that statement down at that time.
There is also no indication that police asked Gerald Stanley to hand over his clothes, something investigators say should be standard practice.
We're dealing with potentially micro blood spatter stains that are less than a millimeter that may not be visible to the eye, that would have to go to a lab for analysis under proper lighting techniques. So, you know, if he said that, well, we didn't see anything on his clothing, again, that's where a trained expert should be saying, no, we need to seize that clothing.
That clothing may have been especially important in this case. Key to Gerald Stanley's defense was his claim the gun fired accidentally at extremely close range. So where did the gunshot residue land? It was on his hands and face, but not on Bushy's clothes. Surprising, say experts, given the purported proximity. At close range, it's often on both shooter and victim. As for the vehicle Bushy was in, it was never tested. Do you think this investigation was managed well?
No. It's sloppy work, and obviously the RCMP needs a lot more training.
It was very clear that this was going to be an important case for Canadian jurisprudence and potentially for race relations in this country.
Chris Murphy represents the Bushy family, an experienced defender across a dozen murder trials. He's been critical from the beginning.
Well, my honestly held belief is that the RCMP in Saskatchewan either does not know how to properly conduct a murder investigation, or that in this case, they made the decision not to dedicate sufficient resources to it.
And David joins us now. David, this is quite a critique. Any sense of the implications of this?
Well, it's impossible to know whether this would have changed the outcome at trial. That is exactly what the family of Colton Bushy has been wondering, and wondering what role race may have played in this investigation. We actually met with Colton Bushy's mother and told her that outsiders had found failings in the RCMP's investigation.
That tells me the RCMP did a bulged up job. They looked, but then they looked away. I'm scared for the future. I'm scared for my grandchildren. That if the law could look the other way, there is no future. Nothing. We got nothing.
We did ask the RCMP about what they did and didn't do in this investigation, and they said they couldn't comment while an appeal period is still pending. But these are many of the same questions they will likely be asked by that independent watchdog.
Well, let's talk about that body for a moment. It's a civilian watchdog. So what sort of powers does it actually have to do anything?
Like, does it have any teeth? Ultimately, the powers are limited. They can make recommendations and findings, and they report that to government. And if the RCMP doesn't follow all of those findings and recommendations, then they have to defend themselves to government about why they aren't.
Okay, David, thank you. An important story. Again, the deadline for the Crown to make an appeal is just a week away. We will, of course, follow that watchdog's review closely as it goes on.
Yeah, indeed. Meantime, Adrian, more time is precisely what the inquiry looking into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls is asking for tonight. Now, it was supposed to finish its work by the end of this year, but now it wants 2 more years. Catherine Cullen looks at the reasons why and how much it might cost.
The day Jennifer went missing, our nightmare started.
More than 760 people have shared their pain and grief with the inquiry. Now those in charge want nearly twice as long and up to twice the budget to finish the job.
We want to dig deep, go right down to the root causes of systemic discrimination and racism, and it takes time.
She says many more still want to share their experiences, and the inquiry wants to take a closer look at issues like policing, addictions, even portrayal of Indigenous women in the media.
We don't want to do a superficial job.
Ultimately, it will be up to the Prime Minister to decide whether to give them any extra time or money. CBC News has obtained a letter in which the inquiry asks for additional funding of up to $50 million for a process that has struggled with resignations and complaints from families.
It's been a frustrating time, the lack of communication, the lack of transparency.
Francine Joe says in a best-case scenario, the inquiry would be done by now, but she still supports the extension.
So let's take the time to do a good job to ensure that this inquiry can have a successful report that will ensure the safety of our Indigenous women.
Sandra Delaronde works with families of the missing. She believes any extension needs to come with an improved approach.
Families are still not being supported, and that has left, a deepening of the open trauma.
But to those who say the inquiry is taking too much time or money, she says this.
One more life of an Indigenous woman and girl that goes murdered or missing is too much.
Politically, it's hard to see how the Prime Minister can deny an extension to a process that he started, but the real challenge will be turning the final report into action that saves lives. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
We have the Chief Commissioner herself joining us right now, Marion Buller. Commissioner Buller, first of all, thanks for making the time to talk to us. I'm hoping you can help us understand, with another 2 years and another $50 million, how is it materially that you think the outcome will be different?
The outcome will be different primarily because we'll be able to do more depth in our investigation. It'll allow us also to do more research. It will allow us to hear from more people. We'll be able to do greater work in areas like child welfare, healthcare providers, addictions, coroners, in addition to what we had already planned in the way of investigating policing, human rights, and racism.
But, I mean, the inquiry has already heard from more than 760 witnesses. I mean, is there something specific that you're trying to learn or to uncover that you just haven't really been able to?
Yes. We're finding that there are regional differences and local differences all across Canada based on what we've heard from families so far. Also, we're finding that families are coming up with some great concrete, workable recommendations for positive change.
If you don't get the extension that you're looking for, or, I mean, potentially you could get a 1-year extension, a 6-month extension, or, like I said, no extension at all, how satisfying will the conclusion of this inquiry have been?
For anything less than an additional 2 years, our report and our recommendations can only be superficial, because we won't have had the opportunity to do the depth of work that's required. We've spent a lot of time working very closely, analyzing different combinations of time, and the best combination of depth of work and closure to families was 2 years.
Okay, we will leave the conversation there, but Commissioner Buller, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Now, tomorrow, the inquiry will be in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador. There have been 11 such hearings so far, and there's a number that underlines the Commission's challenge. 630 people are still waiting to share their stories. Well, a glass of water from the kitchen tap is no big deal for most Canadians, but in many First Nations communities, it is a health risk. Ontario's Slate Falls Nation was one of those communities. But now, as Cameron McIntosh saw firsthand, that's all changed.
I was wondering why our numbers were so low.
Preston Crane is just finishing his training.
In this type of screen, now we can see how many hours.
Soon he'll be running all of this. The controls, the pumps, the filters of Slate Falls First Nation's new water treatment plant, producing crystal clear water from the murky lake just outside, the first clean tap water here in 14 years.
What does this mean to you and your family personally to have clean water?
For health reasons, you don't have to worry about your babies, giving them a bath and then having them have beaver fever.
A parasite known as Giardia. E. coli, cryptosporidium were also real dangers here in the lake, while the old system wasn't much better than a kitchen water filter.
At $11 million, this plant clears up one community. But across the rest of the country, there are 81 other long-term boil water advisories on First Nations, with a $1.8 billion promise to fix them all by 2021.
They aren't all cookie-cutter fixes. Slate Falls plant was designed specifically for the community. The minister in charge admits it's a tall task.
We are firm in our plan to make sure that every long-term drinking water advisory for public systems like this on reserve will be lifted by March of 2021.
This is an accomplishment. Yes, there's still work to do.
But Ontario's chiefs say communities will need help with maintenance, training, and setting standards.
We're going to need sustained commitment from the government, not just build the system and walk away.
Experts in water safety say that's key. Without it, this is all wasted.
Sometimes in the process, you lose sight of the long-term sustainability of ensuring that the solution lasts for a very long time.
Right now at Slate Falls, the long-term funding is still being worked out. The government says it will be there. For now, Crane is just focusing on running that plant.
That's a lot of weight to carry, but I think I could do it. Yeah.
After all, he's filling everyone's cup. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Slate Falls, First Nation.
So great news for Slate Falls residents, but what about elsewhere? As Cam mentioned, there are currently 81 long-term drinking water advisories still in effect across the country. They affect public water systems on reserves, which are financed by the federal government. A whopping 50 of those advisories are in Ontario, just 2 in Atlantic Canada. The federal government has committed to ending all 81 advisories by March 2021.
And we'll be tracking the progress made on fixing that. Now to the big story overseas that's developing tonight, the idyllic English town that's the unlikely setting for international intrigue. A former Russian double agent and his daughter are in critical condition after an apparent poisoning, and Nala Ayed is in Salisbury digging into what happened.
The English city of Salisbury. After years of spying for the British, as reward, it's hard to beat a life here. Sergei Skripal, lucky to escape a Russian prison in a spy swap, retired here far from prying eyes. Even a longtime neighbor said they'd never even seen him. Today, though, some neighbors were reluctant to speak, and there's no hint Skripal planned to be gone from the quiet cul-de-sac for long.
It's particularly shocking that an incident such as this appears to have happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon in our cathedral city.
The journey into the center of Salisbury would have taken only minutes. Skripal, joined by his daughter, Yulia, visiting from Russia. We don't know exactly when, but father and daughter probably stopped in this restaurant, now shuttered as a precaution. At 3:47 p.m., a camera then picked them up on a stroll. They then made their way to a nearby park, where an eyewitness noticed they'd collapsed on a bench after what police say was a suspected exposure to an unknown substance.
The focus for them right now is trying to determine what the substance is that was involved in this case, because that will help determine whether this indeed was an attempted murder.
And if so, could it have been the work of Russia? Because he spied for Britain, many would have seen him as a traitor long after he was swapped. Still,
Sergei Skripal, since the spy swap, has been living relatively quietly, and so it's hard to see what exactly would cause him to be a target for the Russian state at this point, unless it were specifically to take advantage of the opportunity to send a specific message to the UK.
in 2006, Britain saw a strikingly similar case, that of Alexander Litvinenko, poisoned at a central London hotel by Russian agents. His widow, Marina Litvinenko, told CBC News, in such cases, there have to be consequences.
We're talking about people involved in all this security service business, to be under sanctions, not being allowed to go to UK or to Europe.
Police acknowledge it is a very unusual case, serious enough that the counter-terrorism police are now leading the investigation. Nala Ayed, CBC News, Salisbury, England.
There are so many questions about what really happened. One of the biggest, as you heard Nala say, was what was that substance that made the Russian spy and his daughter and 2 first responders sick? Some suggest the synthetic opiates fentanyl or carfentanil might have been used, possibly weaponized versions, maybe in an aerosol spray. It's never really been confirmed what Russian special forces used in 2002 when they stormed a theater where hundreds of people had been held hostage. The forces had pumped a chemical agent into the theater that seemed to put some people to sleep, but ended up killing many. Evidence from survivors suggests it might have been carfentanil. Russians are suspected of using several other poisons in previous attacks. You heard Nala mention the death of Alexander Litvinenko, poisoned with polonium-210. TCDD is the toxin which disfigured Ukrainian politician Viktor Yushchenko in 2004. And back in 1978, journalist Georgy Markov's assassin used a device hidden in an umbrella to inject him with the deadly chemical ricin as he waited for a London bus.
And here's a look at some of the other stories we're working on tonight for The National. Donald Trump's chief economic advisor stepping down over the plan to slap tariffs on steel and aluminum. Could that be a good sign for Canada?
And we'll show you the creative tech Vancouver is using to house the homeless and why some already want it gone.
From out there in the gutter to this. I'm telling you, it's a miracle of my life. Sorry, I might cry.
There's lots of places these facilities could be built. They don't have to be built so close to the school.
Have you ever wondered how a police sketch is put together? Well, we were wondering that too. That's why today we're visiting the Saskatoon Police Service and Sergeant Terry Lafferty.
What does this person look like?
Like I said, it was a woman. She's probably about my age, perhaps younger.
If you could just go through and when you see something that stands out as similar to that person, what you remember, just let me know and we'll make a note of it. And
okay. She's got that like angular, like the chin is pretty good.
you have to remember, these sketches are not for people that have never left their house and never encountered anybody.
Yeah.
Sketches are for either police officers, friends and family of the suspect, really,
yeah.
or acquaintances, people that know them. That's how we do it. It's all you're not likely going to, and it's very rare that you would walk down the street and walk past somebody that you saw in the sketch. That's
right.
Really, people are expecting to match a photo with a photo. Sketch, it's just an enhancement of some certain characteristics where a friend's going to go, you know, that guy kind of has the same
right.
this as little Joey or whatever. Well, I'll show you what I have so far, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
So right off the top, what do you like and what would you like to change?
I feel like her face needs to be thinner,
Sure.
is my first reaction.
Okay.
Around here, like I feel it could even come up as
Sure.
far as that. It's our meteorologist,
Oh,
Christy
that's hilarious.
Kleimenhaga. The funny thing for me, when I went back and I looked at this, I got her outfit completely wrong. So imagine just being that person who you're describing someone who you saw briefly, perhaps in a traumatic event.
Yep.
And you know, I'm just describing someone who's on my news last
That's right.
night.
Donald Trump's calls for new tariffs have sent another key staffer through the White House's revolving door. Gary Cohn is out, resigning after less than 14 months as Donald Trump's top economic advisor. As Katie Simpson shows us, it is all part of a potentially escalating trade conflict, and now Canada has some decisions to make.
Gary Cohn is the first casualty of the threatened trade war. He quit today as Donald Trump's top economic advisor after clashing with the president over the plan to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum. Trump heard a similar sentiment from a visiting foreign leader.
Increased tariffs will hurt us all in the long run, and as a Swede, I of course support the efforts of the European Union to achieve trade with fewer obstacles and as few as possible.
But Trump was unswayed.
And we'll do it in a very loving way. It'll be a loving way.
While Canada also opposes the plan, it will not be making any public threats of retaliation against the Trump administration.
You know, you don't respond to this with needless bluster. You try and keep the channels of communication open so you can live to fight again another day.
Sources tell CBC News the government will focus on quietly pushing American lawmakers to exempt Canada from any new tariffs. But one of the sources also says if that doesn't work, Ottawa's reaction will be swift. What areas should Canada be targeting if Canada does decide to lash out, if Canada's not exempt?
Agriculture.
The American Farm Belt could be one place where Canada strikes back. Targeted measures hurting influential rural districts are seen as a reasonable response by some observers.
They're going to look at agriculture districts, they're going to look at things like high fructose corn syrup, they're going to look at grain, they're going to look at dairy products.
But the Canadian government hopes it doesn't get to that point. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
Still ahead on the national, more competition from south of the border. Why the ice wine industry is actually heating up.
We think of ice wine as Canadian.
I'm sorry.
I would like to have some of the attributes of computers, for example, perfect recall, not forgetting to go to certain meetings and what are people's names and things like that.
Sean Morgan is a software consultant from Calgary. He says he wouldn't be first in line for, say, computerized eyeballs, but he'd be right up there. Sean says that in the next 10 or 20 years, we'll all be able to get implants to improve our memories, our endurance, and brain power. We'll not only be more powerful, we'll be more efficient.
I see a gradual evolution as our electronic appliances, our personal computers, digital organizers, cellular telephones, wristwatches, as they become smaller, that we'll end up being wearing more and more electronics. At some point, as they become smaller, it'll be just more convenient to have them implanted, like the chips that are available now for dogs, where you can implant an identifier for the dog. If that was the identifier for an individual, you could go up to the bank and wave your hand over the sensor for this chip and not have to type in your PIN number.
It would also mean that anybody could find me. They could track me like a dog.
Exactly. So that's why these are important issues to discuss. And what do we do about protecting this information? What information are we actually giving out to people?
Are we getting there?
Our machines are beginning to look more like organisms. And our organisms, as our understanding of them improves, are beginning to look more like machines. So regardless of research directly into things like plugging computers into your brain, the trends are in that direction.
But why open Pandora's box?
It's already open, and it's too late to put all the demons back in.
But Arthur Croker thinks it's the demons we already have that are driving this desire for wired flesh.
We're really speaking about the consequences, the ethical consequences and moral consequences of a split culture and split bodies. We're talking about a culture of profound cynicism.
But just to play devil's advocate here, the phone was a wonderful invention. The next step now, it seems, in the phone is to have one implanted in your head. Why not? Why not have a cell phone in your head? It could be an improvement.
Yeah, why not? Who needs a head after all? Why not have 4 heads and 4 telephones? These are completely bubble-headed fantasies that can only come out of a culture that prides itself on reinventing the self continuously. You know, really a culture from beginning to end is deeply nihilistic in character and has all the enthusiasm and madcap kind of happiness about that, but also deep loneliness and deep sadness.
I enjoy being a human very much, and I enjoy being alive. I would like to live so long because I cherish the experience of being here.
Randall Kuhn loves life so much he wants to live forever. He's a doctoral student in psychology at Montreal's McGill University. When his body gets old, he wants to move his mind into a computer. The only downside is that right now, to scan his brain, he'd have to carve it up. But someday, he thinks scientists just might figure out a way to make it happen. It's called mind uploading.
Uploading is not sucking the essence out of my brain, it's replicating my brain.
It's a replication of the brain and all that essence.
So why do it if you're gonna die?
Well, in that case, you wouldn't die because your copy would be in the computer and it would be alive.
But then I have no more flesh, I have no body.
Exactly. So then you would have to need a replacement body, and that body could be a robot, or it could be some kind of biological body that was generated in some way that we don't know yet. Or it could just be that you live in a virtual world that was basically programmed around you inside the computer.
But is that me? Is that entirely me and my brain? Can you remake me just with my brain? Is that my feelings, my soul, everything?
That's part of the first concept you have to agree with if you agree with mind uploading. You have to feel that everything we perceive of resides in what we call the brain.
Tonight on The National, we've learned that Dylan Millard will be tried by a judge alone this May for the alleged murder of his father. Ontario's Attorney General agreed it would be difficult to find impartial jurors given Millard's other two high-profile murder convictions. For those, he's already serving consecutive life sentences. An Edmonton man pleaded guilty today to terrorism charges in the U.S. Saifuddin Tahir Sharif was accused of helping a group of Tunisian jihadists believed to be behind a 2009 attack in Iraq that killed 5 American soldiers. As part of his plea deal, which still needs court approval, he faces a 26-year prison term. New numbers today show the growing toll of the opioid crisis in British Columbia. 125 people, mostly men, died of suspected illicit drug overdoses in January. That's up 25% from the previous month. Last year, a record 1,436 people died of a suspected overdose in BC. A battle of values has erupted in one of Vancouver's oldest neighborhoods. On one side are supporters of a bold new project using state-of-the-art technology to give homes to homeless people. On the other side, angry locals worried about possible crime and drug use. Briar Stewart gives us a first-hand look at what the two sides are fighting over.
Inside this small apartment, Jerzy Smolinski relishes the simple routine of putting away clothes after being homeless on and off for nearly 25 years.
I don't have a car, I don't have money. I stay on the street.
A floor below, there are other tenants settling into their new surroundings.
From out there in the gutter to this. I'm telling you, it's a miracle of my life. Sorry, I might cry. I'm just a little sentimental.
But not everyone who was offered one of these 78 units in the Vancouver neighborhood of Marpole eagerly accepted.
At least 5 that actually turned down living in these units because they were afraid of the protests and the opposition, and they weren't sure if they were going to be safe.
Protests began as soon as this project was announced last year. Residents worried about tenants with addictions and criminal records went to court arguing they weren't consulted enough and that the buildings are across from an elementary school.
There's lots of places these facilities could be built. They don't have to be built so close to the school.
But it was, and more buildings will follow in other communities.
This is the first of several modular housing projects that will be built in BC over the next 2 years. The goal is to build 2,000 apartments for the homeless. These buildings are being constructed on vacant land, and they can be easily disassembled and moved in the future.
At these buildings, at least 2 staff members are always on hand to offer support to the residents.
We've had donations from the community, and there's food in each of the cupboards here.
And there has been some from the community who publicly welcomed the new neighbors. Students and others put together gift bags with handwritten notes. Ishmael Bouyan formed a student group to support the housing project.
The community of Marpole isn't exclusive. You don't have to meet certain criteria to live here.
But tension remains. These signs were found staked in the ground in front of the buildings after some tenants had already moved in.
But here, I think the location is totally wrong.
And today, a neighbor flagged us down to tell us why he won't let his 14-year-old son walk to school anymore.
If I'm working, I have to take some time off to send my son to school.
Just because you don't want him walking down the street?
Yeah.
Because of this project?
Yeah.
Here we go. I got a stove, man.
Sean Walters used to live alone in a tent and is trying to put himself in his new neighbor's shoes.
If I was kind of sheltered in my life and I had kids, I think I'd be the same way. What kind of people are you putting across from my elementary school? I think I would probably react the same way too. But, it's up now, and I think everybody's going to be fine with it in the long run.
And that's what officials are hoping for. They need this housing project to succeed. Come on. And be a model for those other sites that are now in the works. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, whichever way this goes, there is a growing push to use low-cost modular technology to help homeless people. And not just in BC. Designers in New York have a pitch to build housing pods right on the sides of existing buildings. San Francisco hopes to build a whole modular factory. But across the Atlantic, they're already well underway. This colorful collection of blocks in South London is called Place. 24 prefabricated units assembled in 2016 to serve as temporary housing for the homeless. Temporary because the city is redeveloping the land there in a couple of years. But this is where the genius of its design comes in. Place can be taken apart and reassembled up to 5 times at a relatively low cost. Meanwhile, Dublin launched its own modular housing project in 2016. The plan also calls for dozens of stackable prefab units for the city's homeless. Some have already been built. The rest should be finished this year. Now, of course, it'll take time before we know whether Vancouver's modular housing program will work. But there is evidence to suggest that properly housing the homeless is simply the better option. Not only safer, but cheaper, too, especially for those living with mental illness. A 2014 study by Canada's Mental Health Commission looked at the costs associated with homelessness in 5 Canadian cities. We're talking Vancouver, Winnipeg, Toronto, Montreal, and Moncton, New Brunswick. Researchers found that for every $10 spent on fixed housing, the public saved almost $22 on other services, like emergency shelters, hospital visits, and police calls. And consider this, those very cities spend on average almost $50,000 per year per homeless person with a mental illness on all those services that person might need. Well, clarification on a story we told you about last week on The National. A church in Pennsylvania that held a ceremony to celebrate assault-style weapons. Now, the ceremony was held by the World Peace and Unification Sanctuary, which the Unification Church says is a separate and autonomous organization.
Tiny Parker Curry is once again making international headlines. This photo of the 2-year-old went viral last week. She was apparently so fascinated by Michelle Obama's official portrait that her mother couldn't tear her away. Well, it turns out the former First Lady is a fan of Parker's too, because today the pair got to meet in person. And it looks like they hit it off. After little Parker paid a visit to Michelle Obama's Washington office, the former First Lady posted on Instagram, "I'm so glad I had the chance to meet you today and for the dance party. Keep on dreaming big for yourself, and maybe one day I'll proudly look up at a portrait of you." According to her mom, Parker thought Obama was a queen, something she wants to be when she grows up too.
Okay, here's Pete now to tell you what he's going to be talking about in a couple of seconds.
A real darling of a fruit, clementines, coming up next when midday returns.
Welcome back. As Pete just mentioned, the clementines are back on the shelves in the grocery stores, and he's here now with a word of warning about imposters.
Hello, everybody. Going to tell you about all the tasty little mandarins called clementines today. A fruit which is imported from North Africa, Morocco, and Spain at this time of year. It's absolutely delicious, tasty, the kids love it, and you can't go wrong. Now, they've got a lovely pebbly orange skin. The way you can tell the Moroccan ones over the Spanish is most of the Moroccan clementines have a little black diamond brand mark called Maroc, just like Sunkissed, only they put a Maroc on there. And I think the Moroccan ones have got the edge over the Spanish. So if you have the choice, plump for the Maroc if they're the same price. A little bit better flavour, on a bit on the sweeter side. As you can see, they've got a lovely pebbly orange skin, which is in fact clementines have got the zipper skin, which the kids just love because they can get a hold of them and they can peel them in about 6 seconds flat. And there you've got segments which break away very easy, and they're just great to nibble on. Another nice thing about the clementines is they're seedless. They are full of juice, flavour absolutely terrific. Now the thing to watch for this time of year, there's a lot of different mandarins available on the market, and quite a lot of them all look very similar. And for example here, we've got the Robinson Tangerine, which is another variety of mandarin. It comes out of Florida, looks very similar to a clementine. The only thing is, As you can see, this one's got seeds in, the flavour's not quite as good, and it doesn't peel like a clementine. So providing you know what you're getting, that's fine and dandy, but don't get the two confused. The Robinson Tangerine, or what I call the fabulous clementine. This is Pete from Pete's Fruitique for midday. Toodly-doo.
I was going to bring you some burnt bannock, but I brought you something else instead.
Oh, what is this?
A little clementine for you.
Thanks.
My little clementine.
My little darling.
We can't think of anything else to say. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Do not let the kitschy decor and the big smiles fool you, because what you're seeing here is a historic dinner. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un sharing a table with a delegation from the South, including South Korea's national security chief. This is believed to be the very first time Kim has spoken face-to-face with officials from the South since taking power in 2011. Now, Kim had a message for the United States as well. He is ready to negotiate. Says he's even willing to give up his nuclear weapons if North Korea's security is guaranteed. It was a stunning development, and as Keith Bogue tells us, it got a somewhat surprising White House reaction.
Like they were the oldest of friends, North Korea's Kim Jong-un welcomed the envoys from South Korea, a country born out of their war decades ago and with which it has never made peace. Their long frozen conflict is at the heart of global nervousness about Kim's new nuclear arms program, and it was the backdrop to these first steps toward being better neighbors. Now, finally, Kim seems ready to put his weapons on the table and bargain. Or is he?
One way or the other, we have to do something.
The president's emphasis on one way or the other is meant to show a resolve to see North Korea without nuclear weapons, either through diplomacy or force. He was uncharacteristically careful to avoid raising the stakes.
The statements coming out of South Korea and North Korea have been very positive. That would be a great thing for the world. Great thing for the world. So we'll see how it all comes about.
Maybe this is a breakthrough. I seriously doubt it.
Trump's director of national intelligence, in a not-born-yesterday mood, reminded lawmakers that it isn't the first time North Korea has dropped hints it could be talked out of its nuclear ambitions. One reason not to believe it:
he views possession of nuclear weapons as essential to his well-being as well as the well-being of his nation.
And experience with Kim's father and grandfather has taught that North Korea does not feel bound by its bargains.
All efforts in the past have failed and has simply bought North Korea time to achieve what they want to achieve.
But the fact of Kim's missiles and warheads is a new reality. He's no longer trying to get the weapons, he has the weapons. And his willingness to give them up is likely exactly the same as the U.S. willingness to withdraw the nearly 25,000 troops it has standing guard against Kim in South Korea. Not great. But knowing all this, the White House says it looks forward to taking the next diplomatic steps with its allies. And today the president did not, as he has in the past, simply dismiss Kim Jong-un as a little rocket man. Keith Bogue, CBC News, Washington.
A quintessential Canadian product is facing new competition. More ice wine is produced in this country than anywhere else on the planet. And because of Canada's reputation for producing nothing but the finest, it's become a kind of liquid gold. A bottle half the size of table wine can sell for as much as $100. So while ice wine was just 0.5% of Canadian wine exports by volume in 2016, it was more than 24% of the total export value. With numbers like that, it's no wonder the U.S. wants in on the action. We sent Aaron Saltzman to find out how their ice wine stacks up.
It looks and feels like Canada. But this is actually northern New York State, home to Phil Randazzo, an American who is trying to grab a piece of what might be considered Canada's national product.
Now, we think of ice wine as Canadian.
I'm sorry.
Randazzo owns Coyote Moon Vineyards, a family business on the south side of the St. Lawrence River. It takes a special kind of grape to grow here. These can survive in temperatures as low as -35. Randazzo saw opportunity in the cold.
We decided this would be a great venue to try some ice wine as an experiment.
They're one of only a handful of Americans to produce the stuff. Many around the world have tried. In China, you can find counterfeit Canadian ice wine made by mixing wine with sugar. Others use frozen grape juice. Randazzo decided he would make his the Canadian way. He left the grapes on the vine, waited until it was at least -8. Then he and his team headed out into the frigid night and spent hours picking frozen grapes off vines, just like Canadians.
It so happens that the Canadians make really good ice wine. I think it's the same way with us trying to make wine the way the French do, or make port wine the way the Portuguese do. You go to the source of who's doing it superbly, who's doing it better than anybody else in the world, and that's what you model yourself against.
We will have a residual sugar right around 28.
Randazzo processes his grapes just like Canadians do, making sure it reaches specific sugar and alcohol levels mandated by Canadian standards.
I think ours is better.
You think yours is better?
Yeah.
Randazzo's daughter, Christina, who also works in the family business, gives me a taste of the final product.
You're not just seeing the Rieslings or the Vidals, which everybody's doing. You're seeing a Frontenac, which is a red varietal, doing an ice wine, and it just makes it just very rich, full, creamy, delicious, sweet, everything you would want from an ice wine.
The price is comparable to some of the more expensive Canadian ice wines, $75 US plus tax. They sold out of their entire production, she says, almost immediately. Seems the thirst for ice wine knows no borders.
This is the location where we built Enniskillen in 1978.
Meet one of the main reasons behind ice wine's international appeal. Donald Zeraldo first started making it in Niagara 35 years ago, along with his partner, the late Carl Kaiser.
In 1983, he asked me to leave 13 rows right up at the front of grapes to freeze. I honestly thought he was a little pazzo, as we say in Italian. He had too much of his own wine.
Everyone thought they both were a little pazzo. But in 1991, Zeraldo and Kaiser's ice wine won the greatest accolade in the world of wine, the Grand Prix d'Honneur at Vin Expo in Bordeaux.
When the French blessed it, it was like the Pope blessing an Italian or a Catholic. This was the French blessing. You had the best dessert wine in the world.
That's the Queen Mother.
All of a sudden, Zeraldo became a celebrity in the world of wine, hanging with prime ministers and international leaders. And ice wine became a thing, every bit as Canadian as maple syrup, created in the cold by those willing to brave our infamous winters. Ice wine still draws people in today. It remains a key driver of the entire Canadian wine industry. And now, the Americans are moving in.
I think, as I say, competition is good.
Del Rollo is well known as a voice of the Canadian wine industry and is part of the company that now owns Enniskillen.
If they're doing things that is innovative and exciting, we keep an eye on those things, and we're very happy to compete with them. From what I've seen and so on, that they still have a ways to go.
Perhaps. Craig Udale, Dean of the School of Food and Wine at Niagara College, says it would take another miracle on ice for America to catch up to Canadian ice wine. But
whenever something like an American business wants to be able to produce a product, we're always worried about them producing this huge, large volume of product. They're able to produce it at a lower price.
Coyote Moon, interesting.
As the man who wrote the book on Canadian ice wine, we wanted to find out what Donald Zeraldo thought of this new American version.
So this is always, oh, wow. Okay, there's the first surprise, the color.
What do you make of it?
It's really dark. Subtle nose, not much in the nose, but then it's cool. Sweet. Acidity's not bad. Could be better on the acidity. Different. There's a little bit of bitterness coming to me in the finish. It's just the variety. I'm just not used to it, so it's something that I'm adjusting. So, and of course, telling somebody about their wine is like talking about somebody's children. You got to be really careful.
So what does he think about the Yanks taking us on at our own game?
I think if the Americans want to challenge us, great. We'll do like the hockey team. We'll beat them, and then we'll become more famous than we are now.
If you had any advice for these newer ice wine producers in the States, what would it be?
In the States?
Sure.
Good luck. Catching up.
Back in New York, Phil Randazzo doesn't seem worried.
I think if the wine's good, it speaks for itself. Winemakers don't really have a border that they deal with. It's all trying to come up with the best product possible.
That means producing ice wine the Canadian way, only his is made in America. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Clayton, New York.
Now, you heard Aaron mention counterfeit ice wines. If you want to make sure yours is the real stuff, just take a closer look at the bottle. Now, ice wine should be spelled as a single word, and there should be a VQA label. The word ice wine is a registered trademark in Canada and can only be used by producers of VQA-approved wine.
So this is a big night for those in the broadcast industry, including those of us here at the CBC. The Canadian Screen Awards were handed out. And I want to take a moment to congratulate some of our colleagues.
My life changed through my dance.
The documentary Dancing Toward the Light just picked up the award for Best Photography, News, or Information. Filmmakers Ed Wu and Keitra Kahana aired their story on The National last spring. That film spotlights a youth dance competition in Nunavut that's proven to be a positive force for hope and healing in a town plagued by suicide. And
Here is finally with my morning viewers, for whom I still sprint out of bed happily at 2:30 every single morning.
And that is the amazing Heather Hiscox accepting the award for Best National News Anchor. Well deserved. She has hosted Morning Live on CBC News Network for more than a decade. Our colleagues at the Fifth Estate also won for Best Information Series. I really do have to mention one other of tonight's big winners.
Andrew Chang, British Columbia Books.
So there you go. Our very own Andrew Chang won Best Local News Anchor, in particular for his 6-hour live broadcast of the provincial election last May. And I don't know if I'm allowed to, shove champagne through inter-office mail. I'm not above trying, though. Well done, you.
That's so funny. That feels like a lifetime ago. But I have a theory. I think that the only reason they gave me that thing is because they took pity on the fact that it took 6 hours to get through that broadcast.
Crazy election.
But yeah, no, it was pretty wild. But hey, I had a great team around me and a great story, too. Meantime, still ahead, the magic moment Wanda Robson sees her sister on the $10 bill for the first time. That is next on The National.
So help you God, so help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
For hundreds of kids in the heart of the troubled Jane and Finch neighborhood, this was a day they'll never forget.
Obama, as an African American, makes you run towards your dreams and accomplishments, and it just gives you the speed of light.
He is a very inspiring person. He changed a lot of things, and many other things will change in the future too because of him.
It just goes to show that black people can do anything anyone else can do.
Speaking out in poems and songs,
The dream we all see is not just a dream. From yes we can to this dawn, the message of love will go on.
students at Brookview Middle School came together to watch and listen as U.S. President Barack Obama made his inaugural speech to the world.
But because it is the surest route to our common good.
Seeing him actually make the speech for his first day of work was actually amazing.
Martin Luther King's speech, I had a dream, didn't go to waste. Like his dream was about to come true.
There's segregation and still in the United States, but he can move past that and become president and really change the world.
For the school's principal, this was truly a day of hope.
The dream that we all share is that one day our school will not be characterized by its toughness or, the gang-related activities in the area. We'll be characterized by the outstanding citizens we're sending out into the community. And that day is not very far away.
I'm just glad I'm alive so that I could be a part of this wonderful expression of love for one individual and his wife and beautiful children.
I heard the voice of the Reverend Martin Luther King, who in 1963 urged us all, brothers and sisters of this continent, sisters and brothers of this world, to dare to dream big, who urged us all to dare to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. That dream, proclaimed by the Reverend Martin Luther King, helped to pave the way for an African American to take office in the White House today.
Tonight on The National, a moment in the hot seat for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. At an event in Ottawa today, the popular U.S. science advocate Bill Nye asked him about the controversial Kinder Morgan pipeline.
I've been to Fort McMurray, Alberta. It really is an amazing place in the most troubling way. Tell my colleagues in the States, tell us about the Kinder Morgan pipeline.
We are investing massively in renewables, in research and science towards that. However, we can't get there tomorrow, right? We are going to have a transition phase while we develop alternatives to fossil fuels.
After the Prime Minister defended his government's 2016 decision to greenlight the project, Nye said he accepted the reasoning behind the approval. Well, BlackBerry is suing Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, filing papers today in California. It accuses the three social media platforms of infringing on a number of BlackBerry's U.S. patents, improperly using the Waterloo, Ontario company's mobile messaging IP. Facebook, which owns both Instagram and WhatsApp, says it plans to fight the lawsuit.
Very soon, Canadians will get a sneak peek at the new $10 bill. The banknote featuring Viola Desmond will be unveiled on Thursday, International Women's Day. Viola's sister, Wanda Robson, was on hand when the Minister of Finance made the announcement back in 2016. It is safe to say she stole the show.
It's a big day to have a woman on a banknote. And it's a really big day to have my big sister on the note.
Robson has been working to keep her big sister's legacy alive. Viola Desmond was a civil rights pioneer jailed in 1946 for sitting in the whites-only section of a Nova Scotia movie theater. She challenged the legality of her fine, calling out the underlying racial discrimination. Desmond has been honored in a Heritage Minute, in stamps, in books, and now as the first Canadian woman to grace the front of a $10 bill. And so here is her sister Wanda's reaction when she got an early look at that new banknote.
Bank of Canada.
Look at that face. Wanda liked what she saw. The rest of us are going to have to wait 2 more days for the unveiling at the Halifax Central Library, and that bill will be in circulation later this year.
Yeah, and you know, Rosie was mentioning to us that people were lining up for hugs when she last interviewed her. She is just that kind of person. And in case you're wondering what's next for Sir John A. Macdonald, the guy who's currently on the 10, the plan is for him to be honored in a higher value banknote. And that does it for us. That's The National for Tuesday, March 6th. Have a great night.
Good night.